Building collapse have become daily reoccurrence in Nigeria. That's according to a report from the Building Collapse Prevention Guild. Nigeria has witnessed about 604 building collapse in the last 50 years, with Lagos State accounting for 57.28% of recorded incidents. While many people have blamed such incidents on estate developers cutting corners in their bid to match supply with demand, building experts contend that buildings fail when there is weakness in the materials used or when the building is not stable. Some also say there are cases of using substandard materials, lack of poor soil tests, poor supervision, and corruption by government agencies. Well, joining us in the studio is an estate surveyor, valuer, and public affairs analyst, ESV Iwinla Mustafa. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we had a very sad incident over the weekend where in Jos we saw what happened. Over 20 persons, students lost their lives, and in the process, some parents actually lost their lives. And then just when we're counting our losses with that of the Jos issue, we saw what happened in Abuja as well. And, the question has come up, what really is going on? There are those who were reporting that that of the Jos incident, it was because of the building did not pass an integrity test, so to speak. And the question as to how can that happen? Or how did that happen? These are the questions we keep asking whenever we see building collapse in Nigeria. And there are reports saying estate valuers are critical to the avoidance of such issues. So perhaps you need to educate us at what point we need estate valuers, surveyors to ensure that these kinds of incidents do not happen, and what really is the gap that we are seeing while these occurrences are happening.
All right, thank you. So waking up to the news of those tragic incidents on Friday and Saturday for me was very devastating. Again, our heart goes out to the families of the victim. Again, this could have been very avoided. I think this year we've had some couple of building collapse cases, even in Lagos, somewhere in Lagos Highland. Again, what is our government doing to curb this menace? It is becoming a case of one death too many.
Absolutely.
And I think that a lot of these issues are attributed to substandard materials and even lack of professionals supervising those projects. The case of the one that happened in Abuja, the building was built for an hotel. But somewhere along the line, the owner converted the house to a 45 room self-contained. For me, I think that a lot of these issues happens to people when the government is not taking responsibility for certain things. And also, even the owners of this building also compromise in terms of the use of the building, and also in terms of the quality of materials used, and also failing to consult professionals to help them build their houses. If you go around Lagos, let's even take Lekki as a focus, you will see that people wake up overnight and become millionaires, and the next thing they want to do with their money is to become estate developers. And doing that, one, they don't consult the right professionals, they don't even take certain government approvals before turning themselves to overnight professionals or builders. So I think the government needs to clamp down on quackery. Quackery is really doing us a lot of harm. People would build houses in 1 month without following the building codes. I know a case of a developer who built about 4 units of terraces somewhere in Lekki, and it was done within a space of 2 months. So you wonder the integrity of that building. People will end up buying those projects and will end up becoming victim of such.
So are you saying that it's not possible to build something of good quality in 1 month?
So if you want to follow the space of technology, it is possible. But it takes a level of technology for you to achieve those. I know of a company who builds a bungalow in about 2 or 3 weeks, but they use a high-tech equipment to achieve that. But developers who build with bricks and mortars, who will call, hey, Shegun, come and do this, they can't achieve such level of integrity. And I'll tell you the truth again, it is only Nigeria where we use bricks and mortars that we have these cases of building collapse. Nigeria is one of the countries that has the highest number of building collapse cases in Africa. In the UK, most of the houses were built with woods. And some of them have been standing for 50, 60 years, and they're still standing. But so I have a recent case of a developer who, a house that was just delivered last month is already showing signs of cracks. So I think generally the government needs to, put out policies to, one, curb quacks from going into building constructions. Secondly, to also limit the kind of approvals they give out. And I also do think that some government agencies have also compromised. We have the Lagos State, Lagos State as a case study. We have Lagos State testing, material testing laboratory. We have LABSCA. We have all kinds of agencies. But for me, I think some elements within that sector have compromised. They will give you approvals for a bungalow. People will end up putting two-story building. Who monitors that project to the end to make sure that the approval given was not tampered with? I know somebody who got approval for a story building, end up building three-story building. Who monitors those projects to end up that you conform with what was approved in the building plan? So these are issues. So until people begin to be responsible, particularly the government and also those involved in the beauty industry, I think since this incident happened since Friday, relevant stakeholders are already having conversations on how we can mitigate. I mean, it is sad when people lose lives. I was asking somebody just a few days ago, what is the value of human lives to us? The student, should we talk about the students who lost their lives just a few days ago? Sure. Parents who lost their, so people are still mourning. And so I think the earlier we try and see how we can mitigate and nip this in the bud, this building collapse issues is becoming too rampant and it must stop. The report you read that over 600 cases of building collapse is very alarming. So our government, again, everything rises and falls on the government. It is very difficult not to blame the government. People will say, is the government responsible? Yes, they are responsible, because as a government, you're supposed to be responsible and accountable for every life. So when these issues happens, how do you curb it from happening? I'll tell you, I'm not a prophet of doom. This one that happened in Abuja definitely will not be the last if nothing is done.
Right. Of course, we do not expect something like this to happen, and that's why we are here to address most of these issues. We also had the NEMA DG advocating adherence to the National Building Code. Yeah. You mentioned the influx of quackery in the building sector. Yeah. Would you say the average Nigerian builder has a proper knowledge of the National Building Code? What is the National Building Code? And how much of enforcement have you seen in recent times? So
the team that makes up a complete building team is not just one person. It's a team of professionals, from the architect to the builder to the estate surveyor and valuer to the town planner. It's a complete building team. So everybody puts in their professional expertise. So the job of a land surveyor is to come and say, okay, this is the size of the land. This is the area you can build on. This is the area you cannot build on in terms of setbacks. The job of architect is to come up with a very, very sustainable design to say that this is what you can work with in terms of the building regulations with Lagos State. There are some areas in Lagos State that you can only build bungalows. There are some areas in some part of the country that you can only build high-rise. Some areas in Ikeja, for example, you can't build high-rise building. So a lot of these things happens when professionals put brains together and ensure that all these building codes and regulations are adhered to. So if you're talking about even zoning, some parts of Lagos, you can't build residential properties. They are meant for industrial areas. Some parts of Lekki, you can't build commercial properties. They are meant for residential areas. So those are the codes, and the codes are not limited to just those. But for me, I just think that we still need to continue this conversation. We've had a case. Look at the case, the one that happened in the Koida, even an ongoing construction that even took the life of the developers. So these are issues. And again, I just hope that the government can reel out policies that will stop quackery. Quackery, I said it in a sister session yesterday. You have it in every profession. We have it in the legal line. We have it in the medical sector. But we cannot totally, scrap it, but we can, curb it to a minimum level, yeah.
What more can be said if it is not that some persons just want to do what they want to do? Government has put in policies. What other policies should government put in place? There are experts. Why is it so difficult for people to engage experts? If not because it's that mindset that they want to cut corners and make profit as it is. So is it really about the government or about individuals who know it's important to do the right thing but have refused to do it?
Yeah, so I think what happens during the life of every project, by the time you start the construction work, LABSCA, for example, comes there, Lagos State Building Control Agency. So at the point of visiting the sites, what they should be asking for is, who are the professionals? Some projects will display outside. They'll tell you, they'll display the list of professionals involved in the project. You see the name of the architect, you see the name of the builder, you see the name of the surveyor in charge. That's the way to go. But a lot of projects around Lekki or even the environs don't have any display to see that these are the list of professionals.
Are you saying that these agencies do not know that that is what is necessary to be done?
So of course, LABSGA, Lagos State Beauty Control Agency, for me, they know the right thing to do. But because sometimes it's very difficult to really nip this in the bud, because a lot of things exchange hands behind the scene. And I think that they should enforce for anybody carrying out any construction work, you must let us know those professionals that are in charge of this project. So if anything goes wrong in this project, the licenses of these professionals will be withdrawn. That's why now we keep hearing building collapse, but nobody is being punished. Nobody is being sent to jail. People lost their lives over the weekend. Nobody has been, as we speak now, nobody has been arrested. Nobody has been jailed for not doing the right thing. Sheer negligence, even on the part of the landlords. Landlords will collect high exorbitant rent for a property that is not structurally fit, and people will end up losing their lives in a property. So these are issues.
Perhaps, I'm certain that
yes,
state surveyors have an association.
Yes, please.
How are they collaborating with government to address this matter? Have you had conversations with government,
yes,
state governments across the country, not just in Lagos State, for instance,
yes,
now, to address this matter and say, we are ready to work with you, but
yes,
what is government saying?
So last week, sometimes on Monday, the SS Surveyors and Valuers inaugurated the 26th president, and the program had attendance of even the governor of Lagos State, the Senate president, and these were the conversations there. I mean, there needs to be a lot of synergy between professionals and the government. If the synergy is strong, it's difficult to do strong advocacy to Nigerians to let them know that you cannot just start to build overnight and not consult professionals. And individuals who involve in building construction without use of professionals should not be encouraged and should be stopped.
And perhaps this where we also hold those who also manufacture building materials to be.
Yes.
So while also holding the builders, those who make the cement,
yes,
sometimes you hold some of these blocks that have been made from cement, and you can literally hold it,
I saw
it with your hands.
Yes.
I saw a video of a certain block that was, molded, and somebody was comparing the blocks made in Nigeria and the blocks made in China. Somebody threw the block in China all the way from a 4th-story building, nothing happened. But the blocks in Nigeria, you could practically break them with your fist. And these are issues. That's where the SON comes in. These standards have to be checked. I know that before anybody becomes, that's why you see local block manufacturing industries by the roadside of every street. Who monitors what they are producing? Nobody. Nobody. Somebody just sees money and starts to produce block. Somebody just sees money and starts to produce cement. Who monitors the quality of what you're doing? Nobody. That's why I say a lot of these things rises and falls on the government. There should be a lot of clamp down on these local manufacturers who manufactures block. That's what the property is standing on. It has to be firm. If it's not firm, there's no amount of plaster you can put. There's no amount of POP you can use to hold it. It will, collapse. It will give way.
I'm wondering how affordable are experts like you, because that's another consideration for persons who choose to cut corners. If they feel that they look at their budget and say, okay, it would be difficult to afford these persons, so we can do away with them. How affordable? So
I think that a lot of times professionals are very, very affordable. But because people have already put it in their mindset that, oh, how can I pay an architect? How can I pay an estate surveyor and valuer? That's why they try to cut corners by not going through the right channel. But at the end of the day, they are not doing themselves they are doing themselves more harm than good.
Give us a sense of.
So for an estate surveyor, if you want to start any project, the first point of contact that you're going to have with any professional is an estate surveyor and valuer, because it's going to be the one to advise you on the feasibility and viability of that project. So sometimes it could be as low as 500K, 600K for consultation and even for engaging you in that project. So it's not so much. So you are building a house with about 50 million, but you don't want to pay a professional 500,000. You don't want to pay an architect 1 million. So it just shows that you're not really ready. It just shows that you want to cut corners, and that will not really help you.
And for those listening and saying that I do not have a house, I do not have a building of my own, but I'm renting. How do you recognize this kind of structures?
So I was telling somebody yesterday, I think we're getting to a stage where before you even rent a property in Lagos now, you should conduct an integrity test on that property. That's the truth.
How do you do that?
No, I mean, there are laboratories. We have Lagos State, we have a lot of agencies that are government approved that you can go. They'll come to the property, carry out an integrity test, and advise you. Because it's worth it. That's what you're going to be living with your family. If those in Cuba had done that, I mean, they would have avoided such incidents from happening.
I actually went to a property and I saw the cracks on the wall, and the agent was telling me it's fine. We'll just cement it and you just...
No, so the signs of crack on a building is a sign of collapse. That's where it starts from, yes. That tells you that something is, the building is deficient and is giving signs of collapse here. That's where it starts from, yeah.
We'll leave the conversation here now. ESV Ewinla Mustafa, State Surveyor, Value and Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.